you're just not in. I guess the one context is you're not actually like enjoying it to the fullest. It's like when you go to an event.
But it's kind of different. Like when you're in the stands, you're like dancing or whatever. But this in this instance, you're kind of just focused and like
you're still listening to music.
You're still like, how much of it
Yeah.
are you like? Do you ever want to dance to it, or is like
there's so many videos of lighting guys just going absolutely crazy.
we vibed with one too. I remember the one time at Sound Machine.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
was like,
He thought that he was the DJ.
the guy was going absolutely ham with it.
Yeah, there's so many.
Yeah.
So for Veld, so one of my favorite DJs is Wax Motif.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I know his music pretty well. So
Yeah.
I did his lights at Veld this year, and I knew when he's gonna have a fake drop. I'd be like, yeah, I know it's gonna come up, and I fake the audience out with Wax, and then we bring the whole thing and go crazy.
Okay.
And it's like a feeling knowing that you did that and you helped bring people joy.
is it?
Do you control the lights where they turn on all the lights and then they blind you? I don't like the venue,
Yeah,
like
house lights, we call that.
yeah.
Yeah,
You guys do that too?
yeah.
Okay.
No, it's
you ever
because, like-
you ever see that meme with like
Just to get out of the venue.
Yeah,
lights.
the ravers, all of a sudden the deer in the headlights when the lights come
Get
on.
But then
Well, I mean, we talk about like EDM festivals where a couple thousand was. You're talking about league where there's like probably millions of people watching.
Yeah, that
the
was-
tournament.
yeah.
We broke some records on that. It was the most watched esports event in history.
Which year was that? Was that this
2023.
That's,
Did you
that's
learn how to play the game while you were there?
I didn't
4
learn how
days
to
of-
play it, but I learned how it works.
Yeah.
Like you try to kill the dragon and then you get points or whatever.
Is it? Because there's the intense moments in league.
Yeah.
Do you feel that intensity in the room when you're there?
Yeah.
I mean, if you have the drive, like when we hear all this like high profile people say about drives and ideas and motives, right? You learn from school, everything is like general. But then when you have a goal, you practically reach there by solving problems along the way. And then that's how you learn. So once you have a goal in mind, all the stuff that comes against you, you just have to solve it. You just have to do it. And
Yeah, you have to do it.
and once you do it, you see the reward.
Yeah, you have to struggle to do
Yeah.
it because not everyone wants to fail.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, practically, that's
thing.
what we are doing
But
right now.
It
for
only needs
this
to
pod.
work once.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a weird thing where like when I first started learning to program lighting, I'd be like, I don't like what is this? How do I do that? How did you get that? And I'd be like, but once I succeeded for the first time, I was like, damn, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. That
It just goes. It's like any video game essentially. That's kind of how I see it. Like
Life is a video game.
Yeah.
Life is a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the main player of the
Of the game.
like
yeah.
you guys play GTA.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you're stealing cars
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
want to sell all those cars to buy the penthouse. Same difference. You gotta fail. You're gonna get blown up. There's people who like are just gonna blow you up for fun. You go like, ah!
yeah.
But then
There's no success without failure.
exactly 100%. But not the thing is not everyone wants to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they fail once, they're like, oh, I'm done. 'Cause they
Uh,
don't like it. But you gotta really learn just to fail.
And I think with that, we'll segue into the episode then. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the BNB Hurts Podcast, where we talk about all things EDM. Thanks for tuning in. So on today's episode, have you ever wondered what happens for lighting in stage production, especially at your favorite festivals or your favorite raves? A lot of times you see a bunch of people behind the booth looking at screens,
mhm.
pressing a bunch of buttons, but do you know actually what they do? It's always caught my curiosity. So today we have someone with quite the resume, and we're here to pick his brain. But first, I'm going to introduce our panel. So I'm your host for today, Sunny. To my right is Benny.
Hey.
To my far right is Ekern.
Hey.
And our guest today is Kian.
Hey.
So you have been around the world, like setting up for artists, and you started when you were a teenager, which is something we'll definitely get into
Mhm.
because you got quite the resume for your current age. But from what we've learned on many of our episodes is everyone has a different path to like starting.
Mhm.
We had Scott on one of our episodes learn DJing from a protest.
Mhm.
We've had DJ Malig kind of faking photography and making his way in the industry. And we've also had friends learn by having another friend set up a boot camp for them.
Mhm.
So I guess starting with you, like you, Kian, how did you get into this line of AV work?
Yeah. Essentially, I started in high school. My brother, going into high school, my brother was part of the AV crew, and I didn't really know anything about that. He basically sold to me as, oh, it's technology, and like, oh,
It's technology.
me being 13 years old, I know how to fix a computer when it freezes. You just unplug the power and plug it back in, then bam, it's done.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I was like, I don't know, this is right up my alley. So I got into that. My brother helped me get into the AV career at high school, and then I just kind of fell. in
What was
love.
this like in grade 9? Like
Yeah,
right
grade
away?
9.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he was in grade 12 at the time. So he was kind of like in and out every once in a while. And then I kind of just fell in love with it, and I wanted to learn more and more and more. I'd volunteer all my free time to go do any shows, because at my house, we had a foyer, and every Friday they have foyer games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually like a rotating thing, like, oh, on this week, these people are going to go set it up. Then next week, it's another group of people. Next week, another group of people. But I'd be there every single week.
Oh yeah, you just like technically.
That's the hustle.
That's
Yeah.
the hustle.
Oh,
I mean, it wasn't really a hustle to me. It's like, I just wanted to do
Yeah,
it. It was
just
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
It's
had that
not-
with like everyone. Like we had those with like shop classes too, where people were just taking their lunches to go to shop class. 'Cause
Yeah.
who doesn't want to work on a car,
Mhm.
especially if that's your passion at the
Mhm.
time, right? So in your AV club, like what specifics were they showing you? Like,
So I was fortunate in my high school. We had a full auditorium with like a PA system and some lights that worked. So I was able to learn a lot, learn all the lighting, learn all the audio, and then all the random student council events that were just going on. So I
Mhm.
learned audio first, because that was actually kind of my thing in grade 9. I was like, well, audio is cool because I can fly faders around.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I can control what you guys hear and what you don't hear. So audio was my first thing. I ended up being like the backup audio engineer for the musical we did,
Mm-hmm.
which was Legally Blonde, if you guys heard of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Epic
Yes.
soundtrack, by the way. No shame in saying that.
Yeah.
So I did that. It was a lot of fun. And then I don't exactly remember how I segued into lighting. But our lighting console at my high school was utter trash.
It was
Mhm.
dog.
It was like an analog console that only half of the faders worked. It was just this big hunk of thing, and it's just
old equipment.
But
and
it helps you learn the basics, right?
yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
so.
Like,
But
how old do you think that equipment was? Like,
At
is it like
least
those? You know, remember those
2000.
projectors?
Yeah,
Remember those
old-
projectors
yeah,
they used to
yeah.
have in the school,
Yeah.
where they
Overhead.
just like you put the little
Yeah,
The see-through paper.
Yeah, it's called an overhead.
I remember last year I asked my boss. I'm like, he has kids in school. I'm like, do they even have those anymore?
They still do.
They still do.
Yeah, they still
Apparently,
do,
for a lot
yeah.
of
Yeah.
places.
they were introducing like the smart boards when I was in high school.
Do you
Yeah.
guys remember the big wheelie TVs that they put
Yes.
out?
Yeah. You knew it was a good day when they brought the TV. I get to watch like Magic
Yeah.
School Bus or
Yeah.
something on that.
Yeah,
That was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was
But
always
yes,
a good day.
smart
Bill Nye.
boards-
That's what it was. It was
Yeah.
always Bill Nye.
But smart TV boards are like, I think it's still in the pioneer stage, but at least that was when I was still in high school, but that was ages ago. Oh, who knows that?
Now
They
they're
might change now.
iPads. They're
No,
iPads.
they
now.
have a physical board in the classroom, and it's projected from within. So and then it has a sensory panel that the teachers always have to calibrate it before every class, so that they can just.
I
draw
think I
on
know
the
what you're
thing.
talking about. It's
Yeah.
like white, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
We're old.
yeah.
Young at heart.
Alright.
So I guess with the AV, would you say you're tech savvy? Because you said you like fixing computers. So
I mean, I thought I did. I thought I was smart at 13 years old because I knew what an HDMI was.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, dude, I'm smart. You know, I know what an HDMI was.
okay. So back to the analog console. That's how you originally got through the. That's for the lighting, or was that for the
Both.
Oh,
Both.
that's for
At the
both.
time, like in grade 9, we had analog audio and analog lighting.
Mhm.
And then as we progressed, I helped my high school change their control system to a digital audio board and a computer. I don't know if it's the right word.
You were
but a
probably excited
computer.
when they
The budget
upgraded.
allowed it. It's just like
Yeah, it was great. But funny story, I actually have that analog, the audio controller in my basement at home.
Oh yeah.
It's
You
guy
guys send us
who-
a picture. You guys send us a
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah,
Well,
it's just this big hunk of metal that's from. I think
Did you
it's
get
the
it second
90s.
hand?
It was from the school.
Oh,
Oh,
this is
yeah.
like here you go.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
quite
Thank
literally.
you for your service.
the guy who ran AV, I asked him, "Can I have it?" He's like, "Okay," and he he's like the principal's here though, so he put it in a garbage bag. He's like, here, take it and run. It's like, bet. So yeah, I just have like a 28 channel Behringer mixture in my basement right now. That's been collecting dust.
So in high school, you did all 4 years AV?
Yep.
All 4 years. And then how did it progress like each year? Like obviously you got more new equipment as what you guys saying later on.
The only new equipment we got was the consoles.
Okay.
Half the lighting rig was broken.
Did you have any jobs like other than like doing the school plays and like stuff like that? Was there any other jobs you were able to take on the side during high school?
Yeah.
With regards to this?
So my school is right beside the district school board.
Yeah.
So they oftentimes have conferences there. So we come in and we set up like a projector or something like that, and then we get paid like $15 or whatever an hour, which was not terrible as a
high schooler.
As a high schooler?
That's more than minimum wage.
At the
High
time,
schooler,
yeah.
and you actually like what you're doing?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you getting paid that?
So
Can't
I
complain.
pull up to school on a weekend, hang out with all these school board people, and they're like, I'm gonna set up your projector for you.
Yeah.
It was cool. But ultimately, my way into the more professional route was in, I think it still was in grade 9. My sister, who's much older than me, had a friend, or still does have a friend, who is in the business. So she connected me with him. And
time frame wise, when was this?
I think this was still grade 9 or grade 9,
Oh, so
grade
this
10.
is early.
Yeah, because I expressed interest like immediately.
Okay.
So he actually like kind of mentored me,
Mm-hmm.
and he brought me up to my first gig, which pretty funny. It was in a casino in Quebec, and I was 14.
So were you weren't Okay.
So I went to do this gig. It was just a quick load in, and I was talking to one of the guys during the load in. He asked me, "How old are you?" I'm like, 14, dude. It's like, I don't think you can be working at 14. So I was scheduled to return to do the loadout, but then the workout I was 14. It's like, oh, dude, we can't have you back, man. It's like, oh.
Initially you're there. It's just like, well, I mean, we'll just keep it. And then
You should have just said, "Oh, I'm the
of
age you
age.
need."
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I thought I was, just here to
The-
do a load in for fun, and I get paid $15. And at the time, minimum wage was what, $13, something like that.
$12,
Yeah,
something like
12.
that.
And I
$12.50,
was,
yeah.
I was balling as in a casino, underage in Quebec. I was like, dude,
Yeah.
I'm living it up. But yeah, ultimately that didn't really snowball.
But did that open up doors for you?
No, not really, unfortunately. As much as I wish it did, but I still kept in contact with that guy who mentored me, and then through there, he kind of told me, "Oh, here are some companies you can maybe reach out to." And I was like,
Mhm.
"Okay, cool." So then in grade 11, I ended up doing a summer co-op with the local production company in Ottawa. Shout out to my friends at Wall Sound and Lighting. They took me on, did a bunch of warehouse work. That's where I got my experience in like professional gear
Mm-hmm.
outside of school. Like I had all the gear that go to Blues Fest, which is the festival in Ottawa. So I got to experience all this. Like, this is the gear. This is how it works. It's like, oh, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then they ended up hiring me to work on the weekends. And I was like, oh, cool. So I did some shop work with them,
Mm-hmm.
and then I ended up doing another co-op with them because like I'm not doing anything.
This is like grade 11, 12, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I didn't want to do anything else.
How
in
do you
grade
even have
12.
time to do co-op in grade 11, 12? Or it's just like a weekend job?
The co-op is during the weekdays.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
is it?
Yeah, it's
my
during
first
weekdays.
co-op was during the summer, so summer school.
Oh, okay. That's what. Okay.
And
Yeah.
then I kind of had, at that point, I already knew I was going to go to school in Toronto. So I knew I didn't need chemistry. I didn't need all that stuff. So it's like, I
Mhm.
might as well just do another co-op, just learn more. So I returned back to the same co-op place and just hung out and did work. It was fun. That's kind of my first experience at professional gear.
So just for everyone listening, since they may not be familiar, when you say load in and load out, what exactly are you referring to in the production world?
That's a good question. So load in is like the setting up. So you're loading all the equipment into the venue and setting it all up, and load out it's exact vice versa. You take it all down, pack it in a truck, and send
Because
it
yeah,
away.
usually especially us going to events, you never really see the load in,
Mhm.
but you always see the moment the thing ends,
Everyone goes
everyone
crazy.
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
crazy.
Well, yeah. Well, the event
Gotta
ends
get-
at 1 a.m. and you know,
and
you
then,
wanna
Sometimes
go.
and
like
a lot
5
of times
a.m.
they
too.
have to go somewhere else the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to like they might be up like all night just loading out. Which
Yeah, that's the when we get into touring, but touring it's grueling.
oh, I bet.
It's not. It's really for a lot of people. I've done one tour so far, and it wasn't even like back to back days.
Do you think the artist it's more tough on the artist or the production team?
Production
Yeah.
artists, I've seen they walk off stage, they go hang out in the green room, take shots,
Yeah.
hang out, and then they go to sleep, and then
Yeah.
they wake up. Cool, we have nothing to do until the afternoon when they have sound check. It's so much easier for them.
Mm-hmm.
But not saying it's not hard for them.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
still is hard because they're away from family. They're living on a tour bus as well.
Yeah.
Like the production, we're up at 8 a.m. We don't finish until like 3 a.m.
Yeah, you always see like artist schedules are pretty rough too on
Yeah.
the body, right?
Yeah.
But like I feel like production people probably have it way worse.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm assuming it might be more of a, and we'll get into it. It might be more like, okay, if you're gonna do like 2 days in a row, you get like a day off or something like
Yeah, you're never gonna do like 7
that.
days
Yeah,
straight.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Whereas- At least I don't think anyone's gonna do that.
No.
But even
unless
if,
you do
I-
like 7 days straight and then you do 7 days off, but you get like paid for it, something.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then this also applies to for a night show with one artist. But then when it comes to festival, you have multiple artists in
Yeah.
one day. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a. We'll definitely get
the
more.
whole logistics of it is absolutely.
How many trucks load of stuff that you carry for portable?
Depends on the show.
Yeah.
Some shows have nothing. Some shows, stadium shows have like
Define nothing. You know, it's
Oh.
just one AV console, and they usually already have all the production lighting that you want to use.
yeah. If you look at history, a lot of the people they just walk in and you know
It's
there's
all-
already a
it's all-
house,
it's all
house
set up.
plot.
Yeah,
There's already
yeah.
fixtures in the house. There's already when I say house, I mean the venue. That's what we
Mm.
call it. Audio is already there. Like
In
Yes.
house.
yeah, in house essentially.
In-house.
So most venues you can just walk in and be like, and just do a show. But if you want stuff specifically tailored to your show, then you got to bring stuff in.
Yeah,
But
that's
then-
like you see the bigger artists like Martin Garrix and stuff like that. Like if you see some of theirs, they always have their own, or like Eric Prydz and his shows.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's not some Joe Blow on this like
Like,
like working
Laser
with-
City.
yeah,
and,
like
and
there's obviously
yeah,
his
yeah.
own team doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get more into that. Let's go back to your first big break though.
Oh yeah.
So right now you had those. You're underage still doing co-ops,
Mm-hmm.
and then okay, so then where did it progress from there?
I mean, I thought those were pretty big breaks. for
I
me.
think they're pretty big breaks too, but I guess like as you're like
As for a teenager, yeah, I
Yeah.
would say so.
I think my first big break would probably be doing Veld for the first year. Yeah, that's when I was like,
Were you of age to go to Veld?
yeah,
It's all ages.
it's
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
all ages, but,
It's
but
all-
that was when you were 21.
21, 20, yeah, 21. I think.
So in
Yeah.
between that, just to fill the gap,
Pandemic.
in between the the pandemic happened too, so that's
Mhm.
another thing. But in between the high school and that big break, there was the pandemic, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Between that, so did that put a hold on a bunch of things?
yeah, of course, we
Yeah.
were the first one to go and the last one to come back. 'Cause-
And that was during your end of high school,
no, this was during pandemic happened, first year university for me.
first year university. Okay,
Yeah, so
So you just concentrate on school.
I mean, sort of.
sort of. You want to elaborate?
No, no.
Like it was online.
Mm.
There's only so
Okay.
much you can actually learn.
yeah.
But for the pandemic, for me, that's when I really streamlined and learning to program lighting. I'd sit in my basement with my laptop.
Have you ever seen those those short videos where they're in their room and they blast like the lasers all over their walls?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Not to
No,
that extent.
not to that extent. I was like 18 then. My parents weren't buying me lasers, nor did I have money to buy lasers.
Have you ever seen that video of the guy who gets like a kill in like some game and then all of a sudden he has a button and, he presses it, and it just like goes nuts?
Yeah, I've seen those before. Too.
No.
But essentially, what you were doing is just like with anyone, like learning by yourself. Online.
Yeah. There's a really good YouTuber. Shout out to Christian Jackson. He had post like a whole 2-hour long video tutorial how to program lighting, and I
Mhm.
just watched that. I just grinded and grinded and grinded.
Really? He took the time, like, okay.
Yeah,
Like-
it was a 2-hour long video. Of course, you got to replay it a bunch of times, but yeah, I did that, and I just watched and I learned.
And with the learning process, did you have any? You had the analog console that was donated to you.
No, it was all on computer.
All on
So-
computer, so all using software.
Yeah, so but I'd say majority of the shows you guys go to, the lighting console, it's called Grand MA, and there's Grand MA 2 and Grand MA 3. There's also Grand MA 1, but no one really uses that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That software is free to learn, but in order to output actual physical data, you have to buy a piece
Like,
of hardware for it.
Yeah,
lasers
yeah.
and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I took the time to learn the software on my laptop because it was free.
But how do you know if it works?
They have a visualizer,
Oh, okay.
which is
Mhm.
pretty bad, but
Okay.
it conveys the
something.
message. You know, this is the light, this is the color, this is where it's going to be pointing to, this is the strobe. It's like 75% accurate.
Have you ever seen those the projector shows with it's like they're at a church and they change all like the different windows?
Yeah.
How different is that from what you were learning?
So the projector stuff, that's kind of a different world, but all within the entertainment industry, of course. But
Did you know that nearly 25% of adults experience hearing damage from loud noise exposure, like the music at clubs or festivals? Once it's gone, it's gone. That ringing you hear after a night out? It's a sign that your ears are crying for help. Hears provides earplugs that reduce noise levels by up to 21 decibels, enough to protect your hearing while still letting you feel the bass and enjoy the show. Get up to 30% off when you group buy with 5 friends. Click the link in the description now or scan the QR code on the screen. Don't wait till it's too late. Order today so you have it for your next event.
entertainment industry, of course. But they have to map out the church or whatever they're
Yeah.
trying to map, and then you have to do animations to it. And
Yeah.
everything. I don't know a whole bunch about it, but that's kind of the
idea.
The idea
Yeah.
where you map out whatever you're doing,
Mhm.
and then you do animations to it.
Is that something you are interested in touching upon in your career and your journey?
Yes, but honestly, I'm probably not going to touch that. It's something that's cool,
Yeah.
but it's not my end goal
Mhm.
streamline thing. I wouldn't be opposed to doing it for fun and trying it out. I mean, most things I do for fun.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, but you have to enjoy what you're doing.
Exactly.
It seems like you are, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you would say you were learning during the pandemic, and then Veld. It was, I guess, the first year when Veld happened again, right?
That was
Yeah.
2020.
21.
2021.
Yeah.
Correct, 2021.
Yeah.
Okay. How did that process? If you want to talk about how you landed that gig,
That's actually a crazy story as well. I have so many crazy stories. So essentially, during
stories
the
is what
pandemic,
makes this podcast
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
during the pandemic, a lighting manufacturing company called Ariton, they put out this quote unquote contest. It's like, hey guys, program a show only using our fixtures, and we'll send you free stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
So I just learned how to program. I was like, okay, cool. So I imported a bunch of their fixtures. I programmed a show, or programmed a song. That was like my first ever song that.
And
I
this is
recorded.
going back to what you just talking about, where you can do everything on the program,
Mhm.
and then they have the equipment that they can just run it.
Not necessarily. This is all through the visualizer.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
all through
yeah.
the
Yeah,
visualizer.
similar.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and the visualizer, like I say, it's not the greatest, but it gets.
Oh, you can. Okay, yeah.
It gets
I got
the
I got
idea.
it, yeah.
So
What's-
I did that, and I submitted it, whatever, and I was pretty proud because it was my first first song that I programmed with this new piece of software that I just learned.
What song was it?
No, what was the song? EDM? Yeah.
No,
that's
I
what-
don't think it was. I think it was like a alt rock song.
Oh.
So I did that. I submitted it, and then one of the people on their team kind of just hit back to me. He's like, "Hey, good job." And then I actually knew of this guy,
Mhm.
and I hit him back. I was like, "Hey, thanks, man. I'd love to ask you some questions." And he kind of rejected me. He's like, "Nah, sorry, I don't really do that. But here are 3 other people you can talk to."
Mm.
Ah.
So I ended up talking to all 3 of those people, and one of them happens to be one of the people I talked to. He was the guy who kind of brought me on for Veld after a year of talking, because we were still in the pandemic. But he knew I was a keen guy, and then he gave me a bunch of opportunities in Toronto.
But did you win the contest?
No, it
But
wasn't
you
really.
won in another way.
Yeah.
You got to vote. You got to
Yeah,
vote,
Yeah. And I got a bunch of
you
free
grew your
stuff.
resume,
Yeah.
essentially how it worked out.
Yeah,
That's
I
how
grew
it is.
my
you never
connections.
know. Yeah, the connections matter.
Exactly,
In
and
the
that's
industry.
literally how I got Vel, because I submitted a thing that, which was honestly, it's pretty trash, but whatever. What do you want from me? I just learned it,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then and reached out, and then he said no, and gave me 3 other connections, and talked to those 3, and one of the guys gave me an opportunity.
And this opportunity, did you have to do anything, or was the opportunity actually just Veld was the opportunity like fully? Did you have to like do anything before leading up to Veld?
So the first opportunity he actually gave me was to do the installation of history.
Okay,
Oh.
okay.
So I
That's
did
cool.
the installation.
You know they're opening up another history in Ottawa.
Yeah.
Just a side note.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty
it
cool.
Seems pretty cool. I'm excited.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
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 are.
they're opening up another history in Ottawa.
Oh,
yeah.
is it also a Mike Drake?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
So
actually very smart.
It is because like what they're doing is what they're doing. It's like a I wouldn't say a franchise, but like it's a franchise of music venues, and you can
Yeah.
just put them in
That's
different
smart
cities.
because
That's
I think
very
Ottawa
smart.
needs something.
Yeah,
like that.
Ottawa.
Yeah.
is
It's also because Ottawa went and hired a new minister for the night scene.
I remember that
Yeah.
initiative, right?
So
I remember that
that's
initiative.
that's why all these things are popping up.
And if you could just make an exact copy of like the one here, which I'm assuming that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Basically.
I saw the layouts and it looks pretty much exact.
And
Not
you-
exactly. It might be a little bit smaller,
minus
but
400 people allegedly.
Yeah,
But-
the great thing about history is that it could literally accommodate EDM, pop, and
Yeah.
like rock.
And I think that's what's going to be really good for the Ottawa scene, because there's not a whole lot of touring EDM artists that go
Exactly.
through, because
Mhm.
the
Well-
biggest venue they have is
City at Lights.
I don't even know.
no, Barrymore's.
Barrymore's my.
Barrymore's is. I think Barrymore's is done. Is it?
Barrymore's
know.
might be done.
I
I
don't
think
think
you know how I know this is when we go to Escapade. This is essentially what venues.
There's also Green Room. I
Dude,
think
it-
that's
it
gone.
keeps changing.
I don't know.
I never
I
go
don't
to the
know.
APs.
That's all like
Yeah.
small
If you're from
clubs.
Ottawa, let us know in the comments which ones you frequent to. I know there's not much. But
There's not much.
Let
There's
us
not
know what you
much.
frequent to.
Most touring artists that go through Ottawa, they play Bronson Center, and that's like 1,000 people maybe.
Yeah.
I don't
Small,
even
and
know
they-
where that
like,
is.
It's not massive.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people go through.
Yeah.
There. Bronson Center is owned
I-
by the same people who do the Phoenix here.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
See, we're not. I don't think.
But
I don't
Phoenix
know.
is. I don't know if you know. Phoenix is apparently shutting down.
Oh really?
That's
Did not
what
hear
I
about
think. Maybe I heard wrong or something.
Still
Like,
might be confidential on that.
Yeah, still.
As with anything,
Speculation.
things shut down in Toronto to build more condos. So that's all we can say about that. But I don't think I'm personally not familiar with like rock like alternative other than like the Phoenix. I know they do stuff, but like we're just so into EDM that's usually the only shows we know what
Mhm.
gets booked there. So
Mhm.
it's just
Yeah,
all
Ottawa scene
I
isn't that
know
great.
is my Escapade adventures
Yeah.
and then seeing what
Ottawa scene is not great.
is
Yeah,
not
not
great.
enough. for
But
the
they're close
media.
to Montreal, so
Yeah,
It's
fine.
good. It's, the history of Ottawa is going to be good.
history. I think it's probably the perfect city to do it in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like, and you get enough people. Like you can Kingston people might go there. You get some people from Quebec as well, like Gatineau, and it's right across the river. And even maybe some Montreal people will come over. So I think it's going to be a good.
Yeah, it's because Quebec people actually go to Ottawa for Escapade.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it's once again Escapade, very good festival. Anyone as I tickets still on sale, definitely go check it out.
And it's going to be a new venue
Mm.
this time. Yeah, new
Yeah, it's gonna
setup.
be a new venue.
Really?
yeah, new venue.
Yeah.
I think
Is-
there's.
Where?
It's way. I don't know. I don't
It's
really
very close
remember.
to it. I
It's,
forget
the
it's,
exact-
it's
I-
like right next to it.
Are they going back to the racetrack?
No.
Or
Oh, that'd
the
be pretty bad. That's in the middle of
No.
nowhere.
Yeah.
They're not going to the racetrack. It's somewhere like right next door to where it
Yeah.
is.
Huh.
And they have like a mega structure that's going to set up and everything. Yeah.
It's gonna be really big this year. I think.
Oh, cool.
I personally like we did an episode on Escapade, which we didn't actually release, but
Yeah.
we kind of just threw it out there. It's one of my. I just like it as a nice weekend getaway
Mhm.
festival.
Yeah.
Like
That is out of
everyone
Toronto.
knows about like Vald here, right?
Mhm.
But we call it the glorified hangout for
Mhm.
most of us because we all live here
Yeah.
and we all just go there and we're paying like a lot of money to go there. But like going to Ottawa for a nice festival like Escapade and like just chilling with your friends because it's not that far.
Mhm.
It's always nice. It's always a fun like small weekend outing. But back to history.
Yeah.
So history, Toronto.
Yes.
How's the so what timeline was this that you had your first opportunity there?
September 2021.
September.
I think that's
and
when
they
we installed
just
it.
opened, I think, at that time too, right?
They opened in October. I was there for the first show, Bleachers.
You were there for the first show.
Yeah.
Because wow.
So that was your first big gig before Veld. That was your-
Essentially, yeah. But like even when I after I did the install, I don't say that's a big gig. It was still it's any gig I really do is pretty big to me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I didn't actually work, like get paid at History until a couple months later. I'd go in at Shadow. I'd just hang out with the guy, the house LD, shadow him, hang out, learn some things.
So essentially, it was a shadow. Like those opportunities at History were just shadowing.
Yeah, anything as soon as History opened, I'd go in at Shadow. But I got paid to do the installation and everything,
Mm.
and that's
Ah,
kind of
okay.
where I think that group of people kind of got to know me. So,
Yeah,
cool. He
you're
knows
part of
what's
that
up.
little family, and then just like they're doing History gigs because I think History ramped up. It was originally slow at the beginning. It's good. It's interesting that you got the first show there, which is like because I think the first show I went to was Zed's Dead in
I
like
was there as well.
November. You were there at that
Yeah.
one? Okay, yeah, that was I think November. That was like the first like they're actually booking EDM shows here now, and then we all went for Zed's Dead, which was like
Yeah.
pretty sick.
Yeah, they were supposed to open like in September, but they didn't open. So they had, of course, there was another big breakout in COVID, so they
Yeah,
pushed
yeah.
it back, and then Bleachers was the first one to go in there.
Yeah, it was still like touch and go because I remember September things opened, but you
Mhm.
still had to wear a mask when you
Mhm.
went into the
Mhm.
facilities. Even I think that ended only in like January or February of 2021, 2022, I believe, or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, so then that opportunity kind of led me to Veld, and then did Boots and Hearts right after that, and then Rolling Loud. Yeah, those are kind of the music festivals.
quite the big sparing of genres and Veld, Boots and Hearts, and then Rolling Loud.
Yeah,
I think that the nice thing is even though we're an EDM podcast,
Mhm.
your skill set and anyone in that field transfers to anything,
Mm-hmm.
for the most part.
anything music related, anything as you said corporate, which is like really cool.
Yeah,
Because you also did Worlds 2023.
yeah.
Yeah.
2023, I went to Korea to do League of Legends Worlds. Yeah, so
Okay. Was it contracted from a company here to go to Korea, or did you apply in Korea?
no, I was a Canadian company I was working with who
Oh.
got contracted by an American, and then they brought me over to Korea.
Was your flight paid?
Yep.
Nice.
That's all that matters.
I actually before that show, I actually flew to Japan to do another show, and I got 2 days off in Japan after, and then I flew to Korea.
That's sweet.
That's
Yeah.
sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's
It
the
kind
perks
of
of
feels
traveling.
like you're doing a air stewardess budget, you know, where they get to fly for free and then you
a
have like
lot of benefits.
Yeah. You just sit on a plane all day.
So leading back into Veld,
Yeah.
the first one. So you've been shadowing at History.
Mm-hmm.
You've done some of the setup at History too
Mhm.
for that. And was this like with the same team over and over again, or whenever they were contracted to work?
It was the industry is kind of like the whole industry is kind of a small knit family, but then there's kind of like little subgroups.
Yeah,
Kind of.
Mhm.
yeah.
So to answer your question, like yes,
Mm-hmm.
sort of, but no, like History is kind of a separate thing. But then at the same time, it's under the same family, but that family is also like there's 5 different families in it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like just subgroups within subgroups, and people come in and out, or people stay in, or whatever it might be.
Was there anything else with the History stuff leading up to Veld that you did and like had a chance to do before?
Yeah, I did some other local gigs around Toronto. I did load in for the Junos was at Bud Stage that year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I did some few television stuff as well.
How different is the different? You know how there's like different genres of music.
Yeah.
Say there's like Rolling Loud or like EDM festivals. Like how different is that dynamic when you're working there? Yeah, how different is that?
Like what do you mean?
Is it really different at all?
Like the
Like in
environment?
terms
The
of
environment, yeah,
production.
and like
Or is your job like the same? Doesn't matter what it is.
yeah,
it's relatively the same idea, but of course with different music.
yeah,
With different artists, they all want different things. And then you go into different venues, and that's all. It's the same idea, but
Yeah.
everything is still different. Like you guys shooting a podcast in this room versus shooting a podcast in a different room or somewhere
Mhm.
else. Same idea, might be a different topic, but the environment is mostly the same.
hmm
Does the artist runner talk to you guys for the additional stuff that they want, like a flamethrower or something like that?
No, I think that's a different team. No.
It really depends.
Uh,
Each artist is different. Some artists are hands free. They're like, I trust my manager to convey what I want, and they just show up and do things. But some other artists are like, hey, let's sit down, let's have a conversation, let's figure this out together.
Yeah, it depends on how involved. As that, like sometimes it's like, especially in the touring thing, they just don't have time to deal with
Yeah.
that, so they're relying on you guys to like just take care of it, right? But, like,
Exactly.
but someone like Gareth Emery, his laser show, oh, you know, he's talking to those guys every single day to make sure it goes off without a hitch.
Yeah.
because his entire thing is the laser show.
yeah.
Yeah, so it really just depends on the artist. Could be
Any cool artist interactions you've had?
Morgan Wallen.
Oh,
Met
nice.
that guy. Yeah, I did his tour actually. Yeah, I met him. He was pretty nice.
Nice. That's good.
Other than that,
Is there any specific music that you prefer to do?
that's a good question.
Or a show.
Yeah, or show,
I
yeah.
like EDM because it's upbeat. You get excited. But at the same time, I also like doing pop music because there's more options you can do. Because some songs are slow, so you can really paint the picture. Versus
Mm.
EDM is really just go, 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 go.
Yeah, so it's all about fast moving or like everything. Like whereas with pop, you can have like focal points on the
Exactly.
artist. Okay, I see.
Mm.
Yeah,
so
that's
there's
really
there's more space to play around with different ideas.
smart.
But EDM, with all the different effects and sound effects, you can really get creative on how you can.
I like to think of
convey.
it like BPM of music.
Mhm.
Yeah.
EDM's like the BPM's cranked up, whereas pop it's like nice and chill. It could be slower, so like your lighting is like moving
Mhm.
at a slower pace compared to EDM, where it's like maybe just going like crazy.
Yeah, and even with pop music now, a lot of it has like influence with EDM or some fusion to it. So it has the dynamic to be really slow, or kind of some pop songs have like a drop because they might have done a song with, I don't know, Martin Garrix or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it just has, it can the pace can change, and I typically like that, but not saying I don't like anything else.
Do you do the mixer on the fly, or do they give you the songs so that you can actually have something to study to before doing the mixer?
Most of the time they won't give you anything. It's like, here, just have fun.
I
But-
see.
It really depends on the show. If it's just if it's a tour, of course you got to really cue out every single song or time code it out. But
And you know what they're gonna play too, especially with
Yeah.
this tour.
But if it's just an artist, let's say I'm working history and an artist comes in, no idea who they are, they just want to show up and play music. It's like, okay, well, sometimes you gotta figure it out. But sometimes they might give you a set list and you can take a listen to.
Just have fun, right? Have fun and like change it up as you feel, right?
Yeah.
because you're like listening to the music too, or like, oh, maybe I should go slower here with the lights and how it's moving. Maybe I should do this. It's kind of cool. Kind of.
You're playing along.
Yeah. It's
Because you also see the wavelengths on the device, right? On the console.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can kind of know which one is the upbeat, which one is the drop.
So there's so much interesting.
keeps you
stuff.
engaged. That's for sure. 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I like. Keeps you engaged, and you get to be a
It
part
does.
of the
It
show.
does it feel like work?
When I'm behind a console now.
Yeah,
I mean,
because it seems like it's like when
It's
you're
like a
so
video game.
engaged-
It's
yeah,
essentially
yeah.
a video
Yeah.
game, and you're beat
Yeah.
matching at the
Yeah.
same time. Or
Yeah.
like you're doing
And
like
a free
something.
show.
Yeah.
yeah, it's essentially a free show. Like, who wouldn't want to get a free show to your like basically favorite
Mhm.
artist
Yeah.
or music that you like?
Mhm.
Mhm.
You just happen to get paid to do it. It's like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just not in. I guess the one context is you're not actually like enjoying it to the fullest. It's like when you go to an event.
But it's kind of different. Like when you're in the stands, you're like dancing or whatever. But this in this instance, you're kind of just focused and like
you're still listening to music.
you
which
still
is great.
like how
Yeah.
much of it
Yeah.
are you like? Do you ever want to dance to it, or
Oh,
is like
there's so many videos of lighting guys just going absolutely crazy.
we vibed with one too. I remember the one time at Sound Machine.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
was like, the
When
guy was
he
like,
thought that he was the DJ.
the guy was going absolutely ham with everything and like
Yeah.
just doing this at the
Yeah.
same time and doing.
Like, if you know your programming well enough, I mean, you should, to be able to know, okay, blah blah blah, this is gonna happen. You know the music well enough, it's kind of automatic.
Mhm.
And the feeling of knowing that you've, like in EDM, let's say you strobe the light to perfect at the right time, whatever, people go crazy. It's an unbelievable feeling.
it's like
an
you're
adrenaline.
controlling all the lights. It's like when you mentioned that like the spotlight thing, it's like when you control all the lights, and then you spotlight it in the center of the room, I feel like that would be like a really sick moment.
That's a dopamine hit. In
Yeah,
my opinion,
yeah,
especially if
yeah.
it's like, you time it so right where like say they're singing and all of a sudden it's like right at the perfect moment. It'd be like, oh yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah, there's so many.
Yeah.
So for Veld, so one of my favorite DJs is Wax Motif.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Love him.
I know his music pretty well. So
Yeah.
I did his lights at Veld this year, and I knew when he's gonna have a fake drop. I'd be like, yeah, I know it's gonna come up, and I fake the audience out with Wax, and then we bring the whole thing and go crazy.
Okay.
And it's like a feeling knowing that you did that and you helped bring people joy.
Is it different from daytime shows compared to nighttime shows? Like how
Yeah.
much more different is that?
Well, different. It just looks different because for lighting, you're fighting against the sun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Right, versus nighttime, you can see all your stuff. So like being a good designer, you kind of need to understand that your artist is going to play. If they're playing at daytime, you got to figure out how you can convey a different look
Mm.
through the daytime rather than if it's at night.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like that meme where the DJ says, "Oh, all this crowd, people are dancing, but they do not know how good the transition was."
I did that.
I did that.
Yeah, man, it's-
So just touching on Veld, since we'll talk about Veld for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So you've had this entire build up where you've gotten experience, and then Veld comes, your first Veld.
yeah.
What was the process like? When did you guys know you were doing Veld? Like when did you know?
I got asked to do Veld in May, I think.
Okay, in May.
So a couple months in advance, and I was actually gonna go to Veld as an attendee anyways, because I went to Veld in 2019, I think.
Yeah.
2019, the last one. And I actually bought my ticket to go to 2020.
And then it got getting
canceled.
delayed. Yeah.
So they gave me another ticket for whenever the year was gonna open. So
Mhm.
I was anticipating to go to Veld anyways, but then I got the gig. I was like, cool.
Well,
Like
for free
even
now.
better, dude.
Yeah, going for free, getting paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny story. My dad actually went to Veld.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You gave him your
your ticket.
wristband.
You
Yeah.
gave him a ticket. Nice.
Yeah,
So
because who headlined that year? I think Chainsmokers. He likes Chainsmokers, so he went to see Chainsmokers.
That's amazing.
Nice.
they're
Yeah.
coming back this year,
Yeah.
right? No, that's
No.
That's
Escapade.
Escapade.
That's
Escapade.
Escapade. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
this
Escapade.
year they got John Summit.
Dom
Dom
Dollar.
Dollar.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about we did an episode about raving as a parent.
Mhm.
We've had ideas of doing an episode raving with your parents
Yeah.
because we have a couple people for that. So for everyone listening, stay tuned. We're
Yeah.
working on that.
My
So-
dad's the guy. He's just like,
Yeah, my dad my dad's the same way, but I like he has terms and conditions on when he'll ever go to an event. It has to be daytime and by this time, and he has to probably get like VIP or something and like do
Yeah,
that.
so you can sit
They
down.
got a curfew. They gotta go to sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta watch the morning news.
But okay, so you found out in May, and then like, what's the process like leading up to it? Like, what do you have to prepare or anything?
There wasn't much, at least from my end, since I was a programmer. I wasn't really involved in any design aspects of
Yeah.
things. The crew chief kind of just gave me, this is the patch. I was like, okay, cool. So all I really did was patch it into the console and
What's a patch?
patch. Essentially, it's like the address. So each light has an individual
Mm.
address, so you can control it.
So it's like the map of
Yeah,
the
And you
lights.
knew you were working
Ah,
circus
okay.
stage. You already knew that.
Yes.
So everything you already knew all the artists, like their schedule and like who you'd be doing.
No, actually, I was pretty blinded by that as well. I didn't
Okay,
really
okay.
know until a couple of days before where they gave me the official schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was still like I didn't really know.
So I'm guessing in terms of scheduling, you're almost just like everyone else. Where they don't give it to you in advance; they give it to you when everyone else gets it.
Yeah, that's
Like for like the festival schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
Not necessarily. They gave me because you guys figured out set times like the day before or something, right?
It's
It
it's
could
about
be like
like
a
a
week
week,
or
yeah.
like 2
Yeah.
weeks. Depends on the
Yeah,
festival.
we usually typically get it like maybe like a week or couple for you guys.
so it's around the same time.
Oh, okay.
frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just when I found it. I'm sure they've already booked. Like, I'm sure they already know who's going to be playing at what time right now. But me personally, I didn't find out until like recent.
Yeah, you don't want to leak that to too many people. And
Yeah.
if you can do your job just by knowing a couple of days before everyone else, I guess it works, right?
Yeah. And then 2021 was fun because I did John Summit, Dom Dollar, and Wax Motif, and Medusa as well. That was a stacked year for circus
yeah.
time.
yeah. And
It was
like
so
now
much
all of
fun.
them will be like half of those guys will be on main stage. Like there's no way you'd pack them in circus or it would be too packed.
Yeah. So I was fortunate enough to do these guys when they were a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
And those other guys, yeah, these guys are fun. And it's great to see that they're going to main stage, selling out crazy shows now.
So just going back to so you found out the schedule and then you had to like prep something for it, or how's that work?
So the crew chief, he's kind of the guy who takes the lighting design of where all fixtures are. He gives them the map essentially of what the address is, and then he figures it all, like not the logistics, but how to cable it, how to like what circuit everything's going to be on. He passes that information. He passes the patch of the map onto me, so then I can patch that into my show file. And through there, I know I have this many fixtures of this and this many of that. And then I can start programming. And then when I got on site, I helped build the show, the rig a bit. And then I sat behind a console and started programming.
So I guess equipment wise, like obviously we can't, like most of us won't know anything about these equipment.
Yeah.
But like, did you have an idea what equipment it was, or it's
Yeah.
all very similar?
They gave me like an equipment list of like what you're gonna get. A
Mhm.
couple, I don't know exactly, but decent amount of time in advance. So I knew I was in that situation. I was getting a Graname 3 Lite, which is the console.
Mm-hmm.
Was like Graname 3 at that time. Well, it is now like the iPhones of console, like an
Yeah.
Apple of things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like kind of the industry standard.
We're kind of talking about this earlier. Do you sort of know how to DJ yourself, like based on the equipment that you're already using, like just a little bit of similarities?
I dabbled in DJing before I really invested my time into lighting, so I already knew like the basic. I can beat match and like, make sure everything's in the right key. You know, you understand the bars and the drops and kind of. I understood the basics of it. I wouldn't say DJing kind of helped me not translate, but I wouldn't say it helped in that sense, but it didn't.
I want to say the theory did.
Yeah, but
Like
for me
like how you're
personally,
doing.
I have a musical background,
Mm-hmm.
so I already kind of had an idea. You know, we have chorus, verse, intro, blah 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 blah. And then that's kind of the same thing with DJing. You know, you mix in your
Beat matching.
Yeah, beat matching, all that
That's why I'm saying
4,
it
8,
translates to
and
the lighting
16
because that's
bars.
what you're saying. You're based on the artist. You're also trying to match what they're doing, so you're doing your own matching with the lighting
Mm-hmm.
to do that. And just for everyone listening, when we're saying lighting, it's just lighting, not the actual like image on the screen, right?
That's VJing then.
It's VJ.
They do kind of the same idea, but
Yeah.
just video.
Yeah, but that's a complete separate person, right? Doing that.
Usually.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can link the VJ software into the lighting software, so that you can kind of talk.
So would the church like projection be different from the lighting?
If it's just purely church projections, then yeah, that's a whole different
Okay.
ball game. We have to projection map it and everything.
And lasers are different or same with lighting, like your line of work.
Same idea with video. Like it's for the most part, usually it's
Someone else.
someone else.
Okay. So
But you
essentially,
can
there's like
tie
a.
it in.
I wanna
So
say
it's-
it's a trio. It's
So
a trio of three.
it's you know what it's like? It's like the pit crew in the F1. Everyone does one job. It's
Yeah.
like, I put on the bolt, you take off the tire, or you put on the tire.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's not necessarily uncommon to have one person run everything. It's
Okay.
it's just a bit more work.
If it's a small production.
Have you ever had to do that or no?
I've run lighting and video at the same time. I haven't done lasers yet.
Oh, okay.
But like the Avengers, of the front of house is lighting, audio, video, lasers, pyro maybe.
Yeah.
No, usually pyro is standing on stage.
Yeah, because they need to see. Yeah. They need to.
So that's kind of the magic.
So,
Odd.
how stressful is all this? Like during when you're doing it, like Vel, your other jobs that you had, like how stressful is it? Like the day of when you're doing it, or is it not stressful because it's fun?
Yeah, you get some jitters,
Yeah.
You get nervous, but after you get into the groove of it, then it's fun. It's always like the first half an hour, first couple minutes. It's cool.
You just get used to
You
it.
gotta really make sure, like, oh, okay, audience like that, and then you kind of get settled in.
In the load-in, do you get to test like a specific sequence of anything, or like you're just
yeah,
yeah
typically just do like an RGB mixture, make sure the lights have proper color, and then they're in the order that they should be in,
Mm-hmm.
and then you kind of address any problems that might
When
occur.
you screw up, like when you make a mistake,
Yeah.
do people notice that you make a mistake?
In
I don't think
EDM, not so much.
Yeah, but in the pop one, if the light is shining over here and the artist over
Yeah,
there,
I
yeah,
did
yeah.
make a mistake once, and it was it was not a good mistake. Essentially, it was like a really acoustic set. It was just, so I just put one single light on it, and then
You blasted everything.
no, that would be terrible.
You blinded them.
No. Essentially, I was just like an open light. Then I accidentally hit a gobo. So what a gobo is basically, it's like a filter that
Mhm.
blocks the light, and then your light can create a different
Pattern.
pattern.
Mhm.
Exactly. So I accidentally hit that, and then legit halfway through the song, you just see the light spin into this weird shape. And I'm like, "Aw." And it's like, I'll quickly get it back to the open so you can see. And I was like,
But you can tell that it's like, oh shit, and then you had to switch it. to the
yeah,
other one.
it was one of those moments, but it would have been terrible if I just like hit the strobe button by accident.
Mm.
Like,
But
nice acoustic
it
section.
does happen.
it does.
There's human error and everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, of course you don't want it to happen. I
Yeah.
never intentionally go like, hey, I'm
It's-
gonna hit the strobe button on this really intimate acoustic set.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's why whenever I do a
That's so funny.
I'm gonna hit a pyro.
yeah, just get some flames going during Ed Sheeran, you know?
Did
Yeah.
any? I'm not sure if you've seen it, but remember that video of Tomorrowland where it looked like all the fireworks were hit at once? Do you ever recall that?
No.
It happened, I think, 2 years ago. Okay, we gotta find the video. Maybe we'll talk about it offline.
Have you ever seen when like the stage gets set on fire? Like was Coachella, was that one?
BasePod is infamous for that.
Yeah.
With EDC, where certain artists set the stage on fire. Like Excision, I think it was the running meme was Excision. Whenever he played BasePod,
The set was too fire.
the set was too fire that something would actually catch on fire.
If that happens to you, like what is going on behind the scene? Like is it just chaos? It's like who's trying to put it out, or are you still doing a job?
I
And,
mean,
like-
if it's fire or any pyro thing.
Is it the Spider-Man meme where all three of you guys, the VJ?
Yeah, but then you can't really do anything from behind.
Yeah, that's true. You can't.
Yeah.
It's probably the pyro guy. who
Yeah.
has to
Yeah,
probably
it's
do-
kind of the pyro people. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
you guys are gonna have fun.
Have you ever had that happen? Anything like that?
No, I don't think so. Luckily, and I hope not. 'Cause I don't really want to deal with.
No, that's
I
like
mean,
too
I
much.
don't want to see that. First of all,
It's
That's-
bad for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would pay to see if something catches on fire on stage and then the VDJ just makes a bolt all the way from his set to the stage.
Okay, so going back to Veld, is there anything else you want to share about Veld? Like, obviously, you had a perfect, like, an amazing day when you did it, right?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Did you do all 3 days, or was it
All three.
All three.
All
right?
3 for 3 years.
It's like any other thing. You're doing it for a couple, and then you get to enjoy the other rest of the festival, or how does that work?
Not really. So,
Oh.
only time I got time off to explore is whenever a DJ, they bring in their own lighting guy.
Ah, okay.
So usually how that works. So day of, perfect example is, I don't remember, Eric Pritz. He did at least this year, Eric Pritz. He did a
Pride asset.
yes,
He did he did a hollow
the
and
hollow.
Ceres D.
hollow, yeah.
Ceres D is the circus one.
Yeah.
Ceres D is the circus one.
Yeah.
That's the techno one.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah. So he did that. So he, of course, he has his own team. So day of, actually no, that's a lie. Night before, after his main set,
Mm-hmm.
his team came over, programmed, and then they left. And then when it came time the next day, they all came back. I gave them the console, and then they did their thing, and I was able to go roam around a bit.
That's during the Ceres D set.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so like that's what happened. So you've done Veld 3 years in a row?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 years.
So
Fourth
I saw
year?
this. I don't know if you've seen it. It's Deadmau5 talks about pre-recorded sets
Mm-hmm.
and how a telltale sign of knowing whether a pre-recorded set is, if someone's playing a pre-recorded set, is by the lighting. Would you say that's confirmation? Is that true?
No. Well, just based off of he's saying if the lighting is on time, it's pre-recorded. Well, pre-recorded DJ set?
Yeah.
I mean, for a tour, I think that makes sense.
No, it's not usually. I haven't witnessed any pre-recorded. Of course, they have a set list that they know, and after this song, I'll play this song, this song, like any other musical artist. But usually, when the lighting is, it's on beat, and everything, it's time coded. And what time code is basically, I'm gonna butcher this, but essentially, time code is a sound wave that lighting consoles and basically anything that takes time code, it can read it, and then you can stamp certain cues to it.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. We take their track, we give them, we assign their track to a time code stamp, and then we just play it, and then time code gets fed into our console, and we program and record. So it's not from a DJ set being recorded. I haven't seen it, but lighting, oftentimes it's pre-recorded in that sense. But not everything is always pre-recorded.
So each song has its own sequence.
Yeah,
that you can do.
essentially.
Because like, I remember going to Access Club with Benny, one of the pop shows. I forgot what's the name that we went to. We went to upper deck to chill. But either way, it doesn't really matter because the whole time, because the whole time I was looking at the VDJ, he manually increases and decreases the fader, but he presses one button and everything resets to its original thing. It kind of looks like magic in a way.
Yeah. So that's at least based on what you're telling me, it kind of sounds like he just hits a macro.
Yeah.
And that macro is basically the sequence. Do this, if this.
It's like when you're sitting in a car and there's a 1-2 button on the side to set your seat, right?
Yeah. So it's like playback essentially.
Yeah.
Since you mentioned that, I'm gonna ask it now. Why is everyone watching sports during the actual set? And also eating. Now, food I understand, especially if you're working a full day. I know, because it was funny. I was in Europe the last week, and I luckily they let you like walk around.
Yeah.
And I went by the VDJs, and they all were just eating at the same time while the show was going on.
Nice.
So, but like the history is always funny because I probably have pictures on my phone, which we could share in the video, but I've always, sometimes when you're on the back railing, you just look and they never fail. There's always a sports game going on that something's happening, like a hockey game or something.
No, it's a bunch of people like to watch sports as well. Gives them another option.
Have you done it?
Yeah.
Guilty.
I've watched the Stanley Cups playoffs during just on the side. It's like, yeah, it's good. Okay, cool. Yeah, they scored.
Yeah. Silent cheer.
Yeah, and then
Has any artist came to the booth and congratulate you guys for doing a awesome lighting job or criticize you guys or something?
No. I don't know
if it is your boss or your production manager, we'll hear it first.
Yeah.
But sometimes they can just come to the lighting booth and just say like, "Oh,
I
great
think a
job,
lot.
no?"
They probably won't.
Yeah.
I think
that
the
means you have to
one
go
thing
through the
about
crowd.
that is that it also depends on like their set ends, and most times they, or like wherever it is, they go backstage.
Yeah.
Right. In order to go to the lighting thing, you have to go through the crowd.
Yeah.
And go to the booth, which won't happen most times anyways.
Yeah.
Especially for a local show, because if you're doing like the headliner, once he ends, show's done.
Yeah.
Then everyone's just kind of
Goes
like,
home, or you goes.
do you control the lights where they turn on all the lights and then they blind you?
Yeah.
I don't like the venue, like
house lights, we call that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys do that too?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
you
because like
ever see that meme with like
Just to get out of the venue.
Yeah,
lights.
the ravers, all of a sudden the deer in the headlights when the lights
Oh,
come
yeah.
on.
but then also like for instance like Belt, right? Hilo played his set, and then after he went and raved that
Sir SD set.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
SD
yeah.
set, right? So he's in the crowd. Like, you would think that, he would just pop by the VDJ and like kind of congratulate. But I don't know. Like, we never really did interviews with like higher profile DJs, but I do not know whether they would notice.
No, they definitely for sure. Like without the production team, the show doesn't run.
They don't. They
Wow.
only notice when it's bad.
Mm.
I mean, that's kind of the whole
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
Like, there's a good quote that's gonna stuck with me for a while. Is that only 5% of the people will notice your lighting, but 100% is affected. And it's even more. More people notice when there's a mistake.
Yeah.
right? So the DJ, of course, he probably, well, they probably expect, I'm gonna have some lights on me so they can see, and then out in the crowd there's gonna be strobes.
Yeah,
Usually.
because most of the time, like a DJ set, I don't particularly see the DJ at all. So it doesn't really matter. You don't need to elevate the stage to, prop up the icon like Taylor Swift and things like that, right?
Yeah.
It all depends on the stage setup. But like at EDC, BassPod, that guy's up there somewhere on BassPod, but you just don't see it. And sometimes I don't even know where he's playing. Until
Actually, I
saw-
don't know exactly where they are in some of those
At
stages.
Yeah.
BassPod?
Yeah,
He's
like
like somewhere up
BassPod,
there.
like BassPod is like 2 stories up.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's same with Wasteland too.
Yeah.
Sometimes they mask it, sometimes they don't for
Mhm.
where they are, which is kind of interesting.
Sometimes it's not that important to see the DJ.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because most of the time when you have like the backstage,
Unless you're
video,
Tiesto.
Unless you
Yeah.
Testo and just project.
Yeah,
So
sometimes those videos on the shorts of like where DJs post, right, when they put behind the scenes, like you don't really see any lighting that is going into the booth or whatever on stage. It's usually directed to the audience.
Yeah.
Right.
That's just add on to that. You've done obviously around the world too. You've done stuff in like Europe and Asia.
Yeah.
The one thing I always like, especially in the EDM world, is for some reason in our like North America, we always shoot like lighting towards the the artist is here, but they see the lighting towards the crowd, and the crowd sees it.
Yeah.
I've seen some interesting stuff in Europe where you see some videos and the actual DJ sees lasers coming at him from the opposite end. It's like
Oh,
they have it on
interesting.
both sides. I don't know why, but it's cool from a video perspective because you see a video and you just see like a laser going like this way
Yeah.
at him, and also the opposite way. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's yeah.
It's its own part of the design.
on
It's
your
different
bucket,
over there.
on your bucket. Is that on your bucket list?
Mm.
So just to round out like the Veld, the most common one here.
Yeah.
Any other cool things you've done at Veld?
What's your favorite show or production you've done so far?
Related to Veld?
Not related to Vel, like
Yeah,
any
just
event.
anything.
That's a good question. I've done a lot of cool shows, I think.
What makes a standout show and a regular show?
Oh yeah, that's a better question.
For me at least, music. If I like the music, of
Mm.
course, and ultimately, if I think I did a good
Yeah.
job, because if I think I did a good job, there's a good chance I did do a good job. But if I think I did a bad job, then there's a good chance I think people notice my errors as lighting.
It's also
programmer.
experience, right? You've
Yeah.
done it so much over the years. You know when
Mm.
something goes good, and you know when something goes bad. Like I would say, like we like to say that about the podcast too. Is we know when an episode goes good, which is going pretty good, and we know when an episode
Has gone.
and we know when an episode's like maybe it wasn't the best, right?
Yeah, well,
Y-
all this is
But we
like
still post it.
personal experience. Like I can't say it's good if it meets XYZ check marks, but this is all just for me personal.
It's all learning experience too.
Yeah, and I mean,
It's the feel of it, I guess.
yeah, as long as
And
I have fun and I leave the show, I'm like, yeah, giving high fives all around.
It's once again same thing. Dopamine hit.
Yeah,
Mhm.
After when you know you did a good job, it's the dopamine hit. No matter
Yeah.
what, no matter what it is.
exactly. So
So-
when I did wax motif this past year at Veld, I knew, like, yeah. It was also the last set of the festival at that. Was it? Yeah, it was. It's like that's how you end.
That's how you end it.
Yeah, because Green Velvet canceled, so
Mhm.
Wax didn't extended.
Oh, and you got to do the entire thing.
Yeah, and then
Mhm.
Wax also brought on Loud Luxury,
Oh, okay.
so that was a fun back to back.
And you've only done circus stage.
Yeah, I've only done circus stage at Veld.
Okay. You think it'll ever open up to do the other stages, or
Time will tell.
time will tell? Okay. So moving on from obviously we talked about Veld. What about other larger scale, like worldwide stuff?
Yeah, at least for festivals, I've done Coachella with Blackpink, and I did a festival called the Town in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Oh wow.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was
There's a big
Wait,
jump.
Coachella with Blackpink?
I was just a technician, but still I was.
Did
Wow.
you get to meet Blackpink?
No,
Any of the
they-
members?
They walked past me and their big personal body cards.
Oh,
were
yeah.
all.
So you met them.
In
I
passing.
might have made eye contact with one, but that's about it.
Nice. And then other ones around the city. You mentioned League of Legends.
I did do
Mhm.
League of Legends in Montpellier, France.
Oh,
That was
okay.
the European finals, and then ultimately I got asked to do the Worlds in South Korea.
Doing the world. That's actually crazy
Yeah.
considering how many
do you play League of Legends?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, we talk about like EDM festivals where a couple thousand was. You're talking about League where there's like probably millions of people watching.
Yeah, that was-
the tournament.
Yeah.
We broke some records on that. It was the most watched esports event in history.
Which year was that? Was that this
2023.
That's,
Did you
that's
did you
2 years ago.
learn how to play the game while you were there?
I didn't
4
learn how
days
to
of-
play it, but I learned how it works.
Yeah.
Like you try to kill the dragon and then you get points or whatever.
Is it because there's the intense moments in League.
Yeah.
Do you feel that intensity in the room when you're there?
Yeah.
For those who live for festivals, raves, and nightclubs, you know the energy, the music, and the memories. Every time you leave with ringing ears, you're risking permanent hearing damage. Here's Earplugs offers hearing protection designed specifically for music lovers. Their earplugs reduce noise levels by up to 21 decibels, protecting your hearing while keeping the music crystal clear. Get up to 30% off when you group buy with 5 friends. Protect your hearing, enjoy the music. Click the link in the description now or scan the QR code on the screen. Don't wait till it's too late. Order today so you have it for your next event.
When you're there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
Usually the casters are the one that hypes up everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well,
So-
even in the room, because we have a monitor that I'm watching the game as well. And we're like, oh, they're going for, I don't know. what the dragon's name is. They're about to kill that thing. So, and then they
then-
kill it, and then the
yeah.
crowd goes crazy. I'm like, oh, cool.
And then another team comes in, right?
So,
Yeah.
so then
Yeah,
what's your cue points in this entire thing, especially if you don't know what's going on in the game?
So what we did is every time there's like a dragon killed or some sort of big event happens, we pre-programmed.
Like an explosion, like all the lights go off.
Yeah, essentially. So there's one person that, let's say, what's an example of a dragon or something that's notable in League?
Behemoth, no. The
I don't
tower.
I don't know. I
I
don't
don't
play
play
League.
League.
I don't play
Okay, so
League.
we'll just
I
call
only
it the
play
dragon.
Dota.
I'll play Dota too.
So essentially, there's one person that watches, like who's like in charge to make every call. And that's whenever, let's say, the dragon gets killed, they hit a button, and that button basically sends a signal to anyone that needs to do something. And with that signal, that
Mm.
basically triggers a queue on
So
my
if he's-
end.
Oh, okay.
So it's automated. So I
Oh.
pre-program. It's like, hey, play this cue when you get this signal.
Mm.
That's what we did. So everything's automated. Everything happens all at once without, oh, they won. Now 5 different people need to be, okay, we all need to hit this button at the same time.
Mm.
So rather having 5 people have
So it's just like a director.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
And
Okay.
with the lighting, you control the lighting the entire facility, right? So it could be for casters, could be for the actual players.
Yeah, so
could be for-
there's a big team for lighting.
Yeah.
you
That's
know?
why I assume for an event like that, you're gonna have a huge team.
Yeah. So there's people who do like the main, like the effects of the lighting. And then there's people who do the lighting for the broadcast. And then
It's one of those. It's essentially one of those things that I feel is always underappreciated.
yeah.
Like
Sure,
one of
for
those things,
sure.
one of the things
Yeah.
that like events that people just take for granted.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You don't just walk into a venue and everything's ready to go.
Yeah,
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 spend-
for sure.
We spend a lot
Well,
of time.
half of the people don't even know where the VDJ and the lighting guys are.
Yeah, especially in an event like that, you guys are definitely like above in like some like watching on video cameras, right?
No, at least for Worlds, we were just at the back house, really, like on the main level, because it was in a baseball stadium. So we were by home plate, and then the stage was like outfield.
Wow. Nice.
So typically, on EDM regular stage, you have the stage in front, and you are usually all the way at the back.
Yeah, typically.
Yeah, that's usually where you see them. Okay, interesting. For all this, you're going to what gear do you have to bring, like personally, like protection, hearing protection? Obviously, I'm assuming depends on the event.
So I have a
We're a big advocate.
Yeah, no,
we're a big
big.
advocate for earplugs. So
Use our affiliate link.
so if you're not protecting your ears, you can find one of our many options, which will state at the end of the episode.
How exciting. I usually travel with a little toolbox, essentially, that goes to every show with me. And it has everything, basically. Everything has adapters. It has like a wrench. It has testers. It has earplugs. Got my in-ear monitors. It's about basically anything I might need.
Mhm.
That's within reason, of course.
That toolbox is you built up to that toolbox from all the mistakes that you have seen and learned from.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So like sometimes I know, I need an adapter because this one time this didn't happen. Well, I needed this, so I just from the mistakes I learned, and you buy it,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes you can anticipate that doing this happens to have there's a better chance
Yeah.
it's going to be a mistake. So
Because-
I just have it just in case.
Yeah, because the same thing for us ravers, like and when you first go to your first rave, you don't even bring anything. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
then next thing you know, you need water, you need this,
You
you
got a
need that.
fan.
Yeah, our
Yeah.
former guest Spencer's like when he was brought to his first rave, his friend did not prepare him at all what he
Mm.
was to expect, right? So
Yeah.
he's like, "Why didn't you tell me I needed to like bring all this?" Now like he has a full gear whenever he goes because right?
Yeah, and it's not just for you. Sometimes other people need.
Yeah, other people.
Mhm.
So I always my toolbox is always with me whenever I do a show. It's fun.
Nice. So I guess one thing, just to break it down for everyone, like the day to day of like an actual like just walk us through like as simple as you can without getting overly complex. Like it could be a show, it could be a festival. Like what does it look like? Like when you have to get prepared, what you have to bring. You just want to like, walk us through the process.
So typically, I mean, there's no typically. Every show is different.
Yeah.
From a tour to a festival to a one-off, everything's so different. But in no specific order, in the sense of, I don't know. That's a good question. So essentially, you always have to first get to wherever you're going.
Mhm.
If that's taking the subway down to venue or flying and then hopping in a runner van.
Usually, how early do you have to show up? Like, say, show starts at like 7:00.
Yeah.
There all day.
Typically like 8, 10 a.m. Give or
Oh,
take.
really? That okay? Yeah, for the
Give or
load in,
take.
right?
Yeah, load in.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, that all depends on the show because some certain load-ins have a whole day before.
So break it down for like a festival, and then you have a concert or just like a regular show, say at like Access or something like small show like that.
Yeah. So for a festival, typically, if you're not like the headliner, you'll show up the night before, and then when you get on site the night before, and you program. You make sure everything looks good. Blah 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 blah, and you go home. Or not go home. You go to your hotel, sleep. Blah blah blah, and the next day you go perform, and then you're out of there.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And that's assuming you're bringing no equipment.
Yeah, like they're already taking care of the load in per se, right? With
Yeah.
everything already there.
You kind of show up. There's already a house where you clone, you do all your stuff, and you hope for the best.
Mhm. And
Not
then-
hope for the best, but
And then for a show, though, I'd like to break down the show between like a touring schedule versus a one-off show. So, you wanna-
touring schedule and that also 100% depends on the tour. If you're doing a stadium tour, like I said, you oftentimes will have a whole day. So I'll break down. So I did a Morgan Wallen's tour. We did a stadium tour, and so Wednesday we fly into whatever city, hang out, blah blah blah. Thursday 8 a.m. we're loading in.
Mhm.
Then Friday we have a show, and then Saturday we have a show. Then after the show on Saturday we load out, and Sunday we fly home. But that's just for my schedule. Before I fly in, there's people setting up the actual stage because you have to bring an actual stage.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I usually have 2 days before I show up, they come in and build the stage. And then I come in and I set my lights.
Yeah, they
set
already
all
have the
whatever.
equipment already set up. That's part of the building.
The
process.
the logistics for production is crazy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just like F1 as well. The logistics for F1 is crazy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you get a bunch of people to the next city?
Yeah.
How do you get the equipment to the next
No,
city?
yeah, like
Yeah.
that's the crazy thing is that whenever they have those weird schedules where you go from Italy to I think Miami, I'm like, they can't just like they have to put this on like a
Yeah.
boat or something, or
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like quickly go across the and like move their shop all over. Like people really underappreciate how much it goes through logistics.
Yeah.
And
on
that's
that
also why tickets are so expensive too,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
have to pay for all of that stuff.
Yeah. And one thing no one ever thinks about is food. How do you guys feed us?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why a lot of like at F1 they all have their own in-house
Yeah.
chefs.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like that's the best way to get make sure everyone's actually eating.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Especially like especially like when a car crashes and all of a sudden you ever see the videos of like was it like qualifying happening and someone bins it?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
The mechanics, you just see their face like,
oh fuck!
Yeah.
Look at that.
Williams this
long
past
night.
year.
Yeah,
Williams
yeah.
this past year.
It's gonna be a long night.
It's gonna be a long night. Okay, so back to the topic at hand.
Yeah, so then for typical like arena tours, you after your loadout for whatever city, you drive on a tour by sleep overnight. So you arrive at Scotiabank, usually 6 a.m. or whatever. The riggers start dropping points, and that's like all the stuff to lift everything in the air, because that just doesn't magically just show up in there. You have to drop stuff to lift it up. So they start doing their stuff. You sometimes even earlier. So load in will be, I don't know, like 6 a.m. to maybe 2 p.m.
When we say load in and you're going on tour, does the equipment come from here, or you rent it?
I think
It's on tour.
So everything's from here.
Yeah. Well, if you're doing a tour, the equipment will travel
with
the tour,
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless
So like
it's a
I like to
special
think of
show.
like Excision shows, right?
I
Where he
think-
does that.
I think would it be like whatever makes the most sense and the most cost effective? Like if you can rent it there and not have to ship it or
Then-
transport.
I think the problem is then think about all the different cities and you have to have someone be able to rent it. Whereas
Yeah.
if you just bring the
Yeah,
equipment,
yeah.
everyone's already traveling, and if you're on a tour bus, like the truck behind you has all the equipment.
Yeah, you don't want to deal with like 50 different vendors
Yeah,
in
that's
every
true.
different city.
Yeah.
So it's
that's
easier
true.
to just have one vendor and you just throw everything in a truck, you travel with it.
Yeah, I just
Just
find it crazy
logistics.
when you see some of those shows, like an Excision show, where you see all those production, and literally it's like, okay, so like with that tour, like if he does like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
you're literally like, once that show ends, you're loading out ASAP,
Yeah.
getting on the next, like traveling to the next city,
Yeah.
and then the moment trying to sleep on the bus or whatever it is,
Yeah, keyword
and
trying.
then and then literally the moment you land, you got to load in the next day.
Yeah.
That's-
and then you just rinse and repeat.
rinse and repeat. That's taxing.
The showers after the show must feel really nice.
Yeah.
Even with like movies, right? When they shot The Boys here in downtown Toronto,
Yeah.
like the place where they shot the scene, they have like 6 trucks
Yeah.
parked
Yeah.
outside. Like, I think that's insane.
Yeah.
You got to load all that in and you
Yeah.
got to put it back in the truck. You got to do a show.
Wow.
It's just logistics are crazy.
Mhm.
It's you
Do you get a lot of sleep on the bus?
I personally can't sleep on a tour bus. I've
yes.
tried. It just didn't work for me, unfortunately.
So with the Morgan Wallen one, how long was this tour?
We were on the 6 months, I think. But
6. Okay.
it wasn't 6 months away
On-
from home.
Yeah.
They do something called Weekend Warrior, where it's only shows on the weekend. So we had shows on Friday, Saturday. After the show, we fly home.
Yeah.
So how much time are you actually at home? Out of the week. Out of the
At
week.
least for that specific tour, two days. But then we had some longer breaks.
Mhm.
But when we were just like on, we would be home. We fly home Sunday and fly back out on Wednesday.
Were you done school then?
Yeah, I
Okay.
graduated to 2023.
A lot of traveling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I started traveling in 2022. So yeah.
Yeah.
Have you grown tired of traveling, or do you enjoy it?
I've grown tiring. Oh, English.
You get to see all these different cities.
Yeah.
That's for
I
sure.
Yeah.
mean,
But
do
you don't
I?
do you? But I was just gonna say, but you technically
I've
don't.
been in a bunch of cities.
But you're literally just at the venue or at a hotel or
I mean,
no, sorry,
at
not
least
even
you
at a
can
hotel.
say like, "Oh, I've been here."
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
us like for us going to festivals overseas, right? You fly in, you do the festival, and you just
And
go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're
just
like,
say you've
"I've been there."
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
spoken to the people, but I
Yeah.
never really explored the city.
Yeah, because a lot of times, I just want to sleep.
Mhm.
After load in, I just want to sleep. I want to get food. I want to sleep,
Mhm.
and then do a show, and go back and sleep.
But typically, when you fly in, you always have one good night of sleep prior to the event, right?
Yeah.
like on a proper bed.
Yeah, at least
Okay.
for that specific tour. But when you're doing an arena tour where you
You're going.
literally don't sleep on a bed until
You're back home.
well, sometimes they might give you a hotel, but for the most part, you sleep on a tour bus.
Mm.
So tour buses are fun, but not for everyone. The whole
So-
touring industry isn't for everyone. It's
Mhm.
fun, but it's not for everyone.
So how do you keep awake? Just coffee, energy drinks.
Adrenaline.
Uh,
That's how I
one.
stay awake during loadout because we finished the show at 11:30.
You gotta go. Like it's
Yeah.
like,
And it's like, yeah, it's time to load out, guys. Let's have fun. And
is
get
loading
out
out
of the-
actually fun? No.
It can be.
Okay, it can be. Okay.
Well, because
I
you're
think-
working towards the end goal.
Mm.
You see the home stretch where after you throw everything in, you
Mhm.
get to sleep. At least that's how I see it. You get to sleep, you get to go home the next day.
Okay.
But it's
I always think that's like the most stressful.
I don't know. I don't. I feel like once you're done, the thing is like, oh, I'm finally done, but now I have more work to do.
Yeah,
I feel like that's like the most work you have to do
Yeah.
at the end.
it's like
just like the
it's like washing
You
the
think you're
dishes after
done. You think you're done, but you're actually not done.
as what Kian said, the dopamine hit is already there, especially if you did a good job.
yeah.
So you'd be like, okay,
Let's go,
Now
let's go,
now's
let's
the
go.
time. Like it's like it's honestly exactly what he just said. The dopamine's already there. It's like, okay, I gotta do this quick so I can go to sleep
Yeah,
Hopefully.
But
before it
this-
wears out. But hopefully, yeah.
but
Yeah.
that the analogy that what Benny thinking is you cook yourself a meal and then you finish the meal. It's like I'm done, but now I have to wash the dishes.
Yeah,
That's
exactly
exactly. So it becomes like a chore.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
But
Yeah.
usually, during loadout, you get to kind of hang out at the same time. Like you're working, but you get to talk with some people,
Mhm.
and we usually get a bunch of local people, so they can often tell us, get to know them.
Yeah.
Spark
Local people
conversation.
on tour, right?
Local people. So any
Not from here. Like if you're traveling with your crew here, it's not from.
no locals from. So if we're bringing a tour to Toronto, we always hire local staff because to set up a whole stage, it takes a lot of people.
Yeah.
So you get like a couple people who really know how to set it up, and then you get a bunch of local stage hands who help you set it up.
Mm.
So that's how it
And
goes
those
fast.
people are from local.
Yeah. So if we're in Toronto, they're from Toronto. If we're in Minnesota, they're from Minnesota, vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So then you're doing the load in.
Yep.
Now, showtime is about to start.
Hmm.
So what exactly are you kind of doing behind the decks?
The deck. So it's
Because it's always this thing that fascinates me at shows, especially like I just look and I'm just like sometimes people are in it.
Well, they have the faders, right? They
Yeah,
fade in the
there's-
lights.
yeah, and the faders can be kind of anything you program it to be.
Yeah.
It can be just simple intensity. It could be the speed effect of whatever it might be. It could be like blinders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So does each fader connects to a light?
You can program it to be that way.
Okay.
But I
You
think that's a
can.
crazy amount of
Mhm.
work. Well, you'd be going nuts too. You'd be like chopping essentially.
Yeah. So the thing about programming is you really can program. At least on MA, you can program it to be whatever you want. It's pretty open.
What about the directions of the light?
The what?
The direction. So if it's
That's-
facing this way, is there a joystick that you can move the light?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. I usually at least for me personally, I program a cue stack, and then I was like, okay, I want it to be straight at a 45-degree angle. I already have that program, so I just hit whatever button it might be to make it to go to the 45-degree angle, or I want to have an X. I go hit the button and
Oh,
go.
I see. You can already pre-program positions based on that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what
kind of cool.
The pre-program is. You show up before the show and you pre-program everything, because every time you go to a different room, there's going to be something that's different. So
And
gotta
are
you can have
update
like
it.
9 buttons, or you can have like 6 buttons somehow. If it
Yeah,
works, right?
something like
Okay,
that, yeah.
Cool.
And are you programming this during your 2 days at home, or when does this programming take place?
So usually there's the overview, like everything's already programmed. But then when you show up to the venue, like I said, it's a different space from your
Yeah.
virtual space. So you got to update. it.
Mhm.
So it's mainly when you're on site, you're updating. You're not creating something new.
Mhm.
Usually, sometimes if you show up to a new venue and like, oh, they have these really cool lights that I want to add in, then you can program and purpose them to do something. But for the most part, you're just updating
Mm-hmm.
positions or whatever it might be.
So I have a question. So when if let's say an artist drops down to the melodic harmony part and all the spotlight goes into one spot,
Mhm.
you tell the program that XY coordinates is this light.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'd show up before and I probably get someone to stand on where the DJ is going to be, and I point every light to him. It's like, okay,
Mm.
record, store it into this queue, and now when it comes down to show,
And you know
I
exactly.
just hit that.
Yeah.
I hit that
Do
cue.
you also put like a masking tape on the the stage floor that the artist needs to stand there if they want the spotlight to hit?
Yeah, typically. Well, it's spike tape. That's what we call it.
Mm.
If we're a
Mhm.
DJ, I mean, they know they should be standing.
They should be
behind
standing
it.
on the same
But I'm
side.
talking about like pop artists and things like that because like they move, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
If they move like from left to right. So is it like timed? You don't
Yeah,
have
for
like
the-
a joystick to like.
No. So yeah, you gotta. That's where the creative part comes in the rehearsals. Like, hey, in order to get this effect, we're gonna spike this specific spot on your stage every day,
Mhm.
and we'll get someone to stand there, and we'll program the lights so that when it comes time for the actual show, as long as you stand there, this effect will work.
And I guess
Mhm.
for tours, that's actually in the end, that's actually much better since you already know every tour is going to be like every tour style is probably going to be the same in terms of how he performs.
Yeah, for the
so,
most
so
part.
like you already, once you do it once, it's pretty much going to continue on. You either make improvements as you go.
You just copy and
Yeah.
paste depending on what the venue has. Assuming you're going to like the venue has different stuff. But if you're going through like Scotiabank where you bring everything is the same, then you just gotta make little micro
Yeah.
adjustments.
So would you say there's more work when it's a one-off show for yourself?
Yeah, yeah, I'd say
Okay.
more work because then you do all this work and then you do the show and then you
And
gotta
then
do
it's-
another
it's a-
one-off. You gotta
it's-
reprogram
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking that it would be a lot of headache to do like an Adele show where she would be like singing a chorus on one spot that you have to point all the lights, and then she was singing another chorus on the other spot. So that's a lot of work.
Yeah,
Whereas for
just-
DJ, it's a lot more streamlined. It's more for the audience than it is for the DJ.
It's like people like Adele. You tip.
DJs are more of a pop artists and like the concerts is more of a performance.
Mm-hmm.
And the DJs is just like
The hype of the
I don't know if it's a show. Like it would you
It's definitely a
it's
different
sh-
mindset. I can tell that for how you have to do the lighting because in the end, you're not for the lighting for a pop artist. You're focused on the artist more than I would say with
The
lighting.
effects.
Yeah,
Well, I think that for the most part, yeah, but of course it depends on. It depends
if you're
on the
Tiesto, you
artist.
just want the lights on you all the time, right?
yeah.
Like, everything's really relative on what the artist wants, what
Yeah.
you are as a designer. Are you more of like the effects kind of person? Or are you more like I want to paint a picture? It
Yeah.
really like anything. You can have the same artist but a different designer where they want to do different things. Really depends. Anyone can be like, yeah, I don't care. Some people are like, no, I really want to be like this.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, it kind of depends on who you are and what you want to do.
Nice. Well, I mean, I think we've learned a lot. So with all this, we've kind of mentioned work-life balance a little bit.
Yeah.
um, so like, how do you? I guess you've said it can be stressful. I like from hearing from it. For me, it sounds like incredibly stressful.
Mhm.
But how do you like unwind? How do you how do you deal with this like hustle and bustle of this industry?
It's a lifestyle.
The lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. It's not always something I can just go home to and just like, okay, mind off.
Mhm.
For me, this is something I like to do and it's a lot of fun and I'm passionate about it. So there's been many nights where I've been just laying in bed and thinking about songs and how I can light this differently or how I do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I get excited and sometimes I just get out of bed at 2 a.m. and start programming lights for fun.
I think it's the same thing with a lot of other passions in any part of your career. Like for me, when I started learning coding, anywhere I walked around, I was just thinking about code.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Exactly.
And sometimes I solve a problem at 2 a.m. in the shower.
And you have to
Yeah.
like quickly go
Yeah,
out
I have to
and, like,
quickly and write it out. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a notes just of like concept ideas for shows that just popped in my head. It's like, oh, this would be kind of neat if we did this. It's cool.
So your work-life balance, like, would you have to drop something like say, would you have to have you had to cancel plans in order to like do a show? Like something you got last minute or anything, or how?
I feel
Yeah.
like there's not a lot of balance.
Yeah, it
It's-
sounds to me like there's not a
it's-
lot of balance.
No,
That's
it's
Nah.
hard. It's definitely hard because especially when you're touring,
But
you miss a
when-
wedding, you miss.
But it feels like from what you're telling me, if it seems like when you're working in production, it's like you feel like you're being a part of something bigger than just
No,
Just-
100%. Yeah.
just anything. Yeah.
There's a reason why people like
Yeah.
stay in the industry because
Yeah.
like
we talk about
It's
if
fun,
we talk
yeah.
about F1 a bunch, like those guys working those out, they want to do it because they absolutely love what they're doing.
Mhm.
Same thing. Like
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we love it.
it's definitely. I can tell this is definitely not a job. If you don't like it, you should definitely not be in
Yeah.
it.
It's a hard if like you want a very stable, 9 to 5. You don't want to have kids. I want to be able to go to my kid's soccer game at like 7 p.m. or whatever. It's hard to do that, especially if you're touring, because
Yeah.
then you're away for periods of time. Even when just doing one-offs, it's hard because then when I'm flying to a different time zone, and then I'm on a plane, and then I'm in rehearsals at like 8 p.m.
And then when you come back, you have the huge jet lag to deal with.
Yeah, I'm jet
Mhm.
lagged. I'm tired. And all I want to do is just sleep.
How do you unwind? Do you have any things you do, or something you'd recommend people to do that you've done?
What's that
recommend-
one food that when you come back you always have to eat?
There's actually
Alpha shawarma.
no. There's a place. There used to be a place by my place in North York. It's like the Chinese barbecue. Every
yeah, yeah.
time I'd come back home from a gig, I just go.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
chow down. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get some food and go watch some Netflix or something.
One thing we didn't mention, and you don't have to share too much. Is it mostly contract work, or is it like with a lot of this stuff?
Mostly contract work. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do. There are opportunities to be like full time,
Mm-hmm.
but at least for what I want to do, I want to stay contract because it gives more flexibility to
Yeah.
work with
Mhm.
whoever. And being full time, if they tell you got to work at this, you got to do it.
Yeah,
Mm.
You
that's
can't
true.
say no. And that's something that works with my personality. Being contract is if I struggle, it's my fault,
It's true.
and if I succeed, it's because
It
of me.
keeps you
Because
accountable.
Yeah,
Mm.
keeps you very accountable.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I personally like doing contract work. So.
Who do you look up to for inspirations?
Inspirations. There's a lot of really, really good programmers out there who've done crazy shows. One of my favorite inspirations from as a designer, his name is Tobias Rylander. He's designed shows for the 1975 Beyonce Bleachers,
Mhm.
and he self-titles himself as a conceptual designer.
Mm.
So he isn't just I'm gonna throw lights here, throw lights there. He's really, really about creating an art piece on stage. And if you guys ever want to check out his work, the 1975 show and the O2,
Mhm.
it really shows like
Yeah, send us
his
a link.
art.
Yeah,
It's not just lights go. It's
it's like a movie esque.
yeah,
How he
it's
did it.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a piece of art. That's
Yeah.
what I think. I aspire to be something similar to that because he's
So-
awesome,
Like that one will give you like how did he do that kind of like inspiration. But when you start watching shows now for any like Ultra Miami or even some of the Taylor Swift stuff, when you look at the stage lighting, do you tell yourself that I can do
I tell myself, how do I do that?
that? Oh,
Nice.
that's good.
And
Yeah,
I've
that's a right mindset, I guess. Like don't you kind of like humble yourself rather than putting yourself on a high horse.
Yeah, like there's been so many effects like on lighting. R.L. Grime,
Oh yeah.
his
Trap God.
Yeah,
That's what we
his
call
his
him.
lighting guy, Scott. I don't know his last. I can't pronounce his last name. Absolutely phenomenal. I watched the whole entire show.
Wait, where was this?
This is just on YouTube.
Oh,
Mhm.
really? Okay. Okay.
So I just watched the whole entire show. I was like, oh my god, it's crazy.
But you know the guy doing it, or you?
I know of the guy. It's the guy I follow. I don't know him personally. I
Okay,
can't just
okay.
call him and be like, "Oh, what up, Scott?"
Yeah.
But he's like, I follow him and I've watched a bunch of his stories and everything. And just his lighting is just like it's crazy. And what I do is I look at his videos and I sit and I try to replicate it.
Mhm.
Is there any other artists you've done that for? Any other ones you've always been curious about?
Kind of just anything that piques my interest. Anything that's not your typical lights flashing.
Yeah.
If there's a cool effect that I want to mimic, I'll try to mimic it. And that's not to say that is how you do it or that's how they did it, but this is how I came up. This is in my
Your
brain
version.
how
yeah.
it does the same thing, but it might not be the same steps that they took. And I think that's one
It's
of the
all
great
learning
ways.
process too, which
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah.
You're
your
trying to do
your
it.
remix of it.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
essentially, it's a
Yeah.
remix. You're
Yeah,
remixing
So do you
the lighting.
save all your sequence into like a a library that you can just refer to it
Yeah.
anytime.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I just kind of have a bank of
Yeah.
cool effects that I've been able to recreate. And it's like, okay, now you kind of got to find a place
So this is
to
an interesting
insert
question.
it.
How messy is your desktop?
Very messy. I have like show file this dot one, show file dot this dot screwed up, show file dot this, I don't know, show file. Yeah, just it's always name dot and usually something random. I try to stay like V1, V2, but it never stays there.
Yeah.
Never follows that.
It's funny because like how designers give their clients the final project, they will name like the PSD final one, and then the client would say, "Oh, I don't like this. Can you do it now?" Or final 1-1.
It's always a bunch of different versions.
In this with your computer, since you got to do it, is Mac preferred, like Apple preferred, or is it Windows more common?
I think it. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
There's certain softwares that only work with Mac, and certain
Yeah,
software
like
only work
the
with
reason why I asked
Windows.
because a lot of design jobs, like if you're doing like Macs, are usually preferred for something. Like
I
Mhm.
personally am. I use Windows,
okay,
but like I said, there's a few softwares that only Mac offers.
Mhm.
So it's almost to the point where I will be investing in a Mac, not because I necessarily want to, but it's just if I want that software, I got to use a Mac.
mm-hmm. So I mean, work-life balance seems so. Our podcast has the Back and Body Hurts podcast. Does your
Yeah.
back and body hurt while doing any of this?
No, yeah, but I've been very adamant to make sure I maintain good posture, especially when doing like manual labor. Like
Yeah.
lift with your legs, not your back.
Mm-hmm.
I really try to emphasize that, and I practice that a lot.
Nice.
Yeah, because you also sit for long periods of time, right?
Mhm. So I often will get up and take a lap,
Mhm.
Just the-
That's good. Yeah.
not just sitting. And then, the sleep schedule is always gone.
Brutal.
There's especially when you're on tour, there's no sleep schedule because oftentimes you finish your loadout at like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And then then you hop on a bus and do it at 8 a.m. or you hop on a plane.
I think this is where you said where contract kind of works, where it's like if you need that break, you'd be like, I need like a month to like recharge, right?
Yeah, and then if I struggle, or if I choose to go travel the world during that time, like, oh, great.
It's definitely an industry. What you're telling us, it's who you know.
Yeah,
Mm.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
But then
Take
once
this,
in-
for example.
But it's also the work you put in goes noticed.
yeah,
which is the main thing, right?
Yeah.
So like it's who you know, but the quality of your work. Well, people will notice,
yeah,
which is great.
Yeah.
If you were to take a vacation and go travel, do you think you would go to shows or do you think you would go sightseeing?
Depends where I travel. So I actually just recently traveled to Southeast Asia for a month and a half. I didn't purposely see a show per se, but like I found myself at like a club sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't like, oh my god, production is absolute.
Are you?
blah, blah, blah.
I want to segue into that. Do you go to like some of the if you've gone and you look at it like, man, this is trash, or like they can do this so much better?
Yeah, that's the thing that it kind of ruins it because now every time I go to a show, I'm like, interesting.
Yeah,
Oh, that
yeah.
was cool.
Mm.
I forgot the song just ended.
Yeah.
You know, like I try to really just if I'm going to a show because it's an artist, or
Trying to
whatever
put
I
your
want,
brain off to the side
yeah,
for work.
I try to do it. I think something that also helps with me is like if I'm in general admission, I don't really see the full picture of it. Versus if I'm like out in the back, then
Mm.
I see the whole picture of it.
So with this, you know how it's always I like to relate this very much to like a producer because every time I see producer at a show, they're never actually in the crowd. They're at the back just like listening like this. Are you like that? Like if you go to a show, if you gone to a show, are you actually like you're putting your brain off to the side? But would you have that moment where you're just standing at the back saying like, oh, interesting?
Yeah, especially for shows that I'm not. What's the word? If
Not invested in.
yeah, like if
Yeah.
I'm going to a show because I want to be because I like the music, it's a different story. But
Yeah.
if I got invited to a show, I'll be like, oh, okay, it's a show that the artist I don't really know. I always try to listen to music and figure it out and like it.
Mm-hmm.
But oftentimes, sometimes they make production choices that I'm like, I don't know if I do it that way. But I memean, there's no wrong way to do anything in this.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's guidelines. Like I said, you shouldn't be strobing during an acoustic set.
Mhm.
Or pyros.
Yeah. There's guidelines. If you do strobe, you're just probably not gonna get hired back.
Mhm. So it's like very similar to how like DJs will always bring DJs who attend shows will always have USB.
USB with them.
So-
Yeah. Hey, put me on lights, dude. No, I know,
Yeah.
man, that'd be kind of fun though.
So to round out this episode, I said, Kian, thanks so much. We've learned a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah, pleasure.
Um,
I love talking about this stuff.
Yeah, it's like something people really don't talk about. So it's
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
just good to get, and it seems like it translates into like the three like the VDJ, the sound guy, you,
Mm.
and also
Mhm.
even the DJ. But where would you like future aspirations? Where would you like to do this?
My goal is I don't really know if I have a goal. Actually, that's a lie. I do have a goal. I just have to remind myself. It's to create shows with all my friends, have fun, travel. And at the very bottom, what's the word?
Bold.
Not bold. No.
Italic.
Small font.
Yeah, the small font.
PS.
Make money. But the reality is, the better you get, the bigger shows you do, and it just happen. You do make more
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
And the money thing for me has never been, I'm doing this because I want to make money. I'm doing this because I love it.
Mm.
I love going to shows. I love helping artists create a story with their show and kind of manipulate the emotions of their fans.
Mhm.
And it's something that I still remember distinctly. Grade 9 music banquet. My friend was DJing the banquet, and I asked him, "Hey, I'm kind of interested. Can I run some lights?" The moment where I black out right before the drop, and then I like crank up the speed of the lights, and then bring them back, and then people go crazy. That specific moment, it always resonates with me.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's a moment where I know I helped create some sort of joy, and I helped affect people in a positive way.
Mhm.
Like, people don't pay to go to concerts because they have to. People pay to go to concerts because they want to have fun.
Mhm.
And knowing that I'm helping them have fun,
Being a part of that.
being
Yeah.
a part of it.
Yeah.
It's something that stays with you. Just like what we say is like, we say money can be made, but experiences last
Mm,
forever.
That quote needs to be on a
it's
shirt.
Simply like that.
Mm,
Yeah, that
that-
quote.
That quote needs to be on a shirt.
Yeah,
Stay tuned for future merch where we
it's
have a bunch
fun.
of slogans.
It's just an adrenaline rush, and it's a rewarding thing, and I wouldn't trade it for anything else.
Mhm.
But ultimately, from like, if we talk about career wise, I want to have like a kind of a design firm where I design a couple shows, and I have people work under me. It's like, okay, cool, we have the design. This is the idea here. Go program it
Yeah,
and go tour it, whatever it might be.
that's always not that. I like that in my industry too, where I'm usually you just tell the guy what to do, but you don't actually have to do the work.
Well, I don't
But you have a
necessarily
team- you have a
want
team.
to tell him. I want to be like, this is the idea, and I want to work with you,
Yeah, work.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
you.
and like, let's create something cool.
Yeah.
Let's create something that people are going to remember for a long time.
Yeah.
And just helping people create memories.
And this is your full time job, correct?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, living the dream.
Nice. Awesome. So, just one final last thing. We have a segment like hot takes. Anything you want to say? Any hot takes? Don't get yourself in trouble. But you can, if you want to say something that bothers you about the industry, or it's something about the scene in general, music scene.
If you are trying to get into the industry, school might not be the way to go.
This guy's your school.
No, YouTube is your school. YouTube, Reddit, you can I mean, you can basically search up anything on YouTube. You can kind of find the answer to it. Is it like, I'm currently learning a software called Touch Designer, and people are like, oh, you gotta pay to go to school for that. No, there's like 5 different tutorial series online, and Touch Designer also offers their own free
Mm-hmm.
course to do it.
Yeah, because your first break wasn't really through schooling. It was
No.
through
Through connections.
Through
No,
connection.
they just mainly connections, and like, I showed that
Self-learning.
I want to do it, and I was willing to put in the work. So if you want to break into the industry, you got to put in the work. You got to hustle. You got to have fun and meet people.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, once again, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
this
It
was
was a lot of fun.
This is a
This
lot
was
of
a lot
fun.
of
A
fun.
lot of fun. A lot of fun on this episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it too. But I think we'll wrap it up. So thanks for tuning in for this week's episode. If you want to support us, we have please share this with a fellow raver. Comment. Let us know if you anything about this episode.
Like and
Um,
subscribe.
Yeah.
Comment. Don't forget to smash that like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what they
smash
say.
that like button.
The only way we grow is if you share it to somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. This podcast is also audience funded. So if you want to go above and beyond, we do have a donation link in the video description below. Also, we have affiliates with a couple earplugs things. Earplugs.
Yeah.
not
Earplugs.
things. We're a big advocate for earplugs. Everyone knows. So we have an affiliate with Hears. If you group buy, you get a good discount. Hears
it's-
also partners with Verknip and ADE. So
if you group up with 5 people, it's up to 30%. Which is I think is when we bought it was pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Hearing damage is permanent, so don't sleep on that.
And if you want to buy a solo pair, then we have an affiliate with Zound. All the discount codes are in the
Description
below. As I said, we all use earplugs on this panel. All use Hears or Zound, so hearing is very important. And with that, we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.